Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the simbroadcast.tv Twitch channel for today's coverage of the Team Rock Racing Championship 2020. Today's round number 32, and we are, of course, at Aston Club Reverse in the XFR. Today I'm joined in the commentary box by Thilo, Falkenberg and Adam Brown, and of course my name is Jack Eyre, so welcome aboard. How are you two gentlemen today?
Oh, I'm really fine today. How about you?
Oh, it's not bad. Can't wait to go back racing again. I love the Team Rock Racing Championship because they seem to like switch it up every week with a different combination. So we'll see how drivers fare today. Of course, Aston Club being pretty short circuit, 3.1 kilometers in length, 1.9 miles, 4 corners. Say if you were on the grid, Adam, which of course you're in the commentary box today, how would you feel going into a race like this?
Well, I quite enjoy Aston Club. It's a short but exciting track. I'd be pretty hyped for it. Fun car.
So we will jump into qualifying in just a second. So, not too long of an outlap, roughly about 1 minute 15 to 20, depending on how aggressive you are in tyre warming. We expect quali to be low 1 minute 6s, high 1 minute 5s, and race pace, according to the guys on the server earlier, when they were doing a bit of practice before, of course, we went live. We think race pace is mid to low 1 minute 6s, so we've got two 16 lap races coming up just after this 12 minute qualifying session, so we're looking around about two sub 20 minute races, so yeah, quite a short round this week.
Yes, indeed, and the track in its characteristic is a bit like an oval. It's more oval-like, like the Bahrain oval that Formula 1 is going to. But still, it's not quite an oval because it still has some right turns in it. As Mega comes over the line, the first car to set a lap with a 1 minute 6.73, immediately beaten by a bunch of people.
Yeah, Vitautas Lugertskas currently at the top of the table after everybody's first initial attempt at a qualifying lap. He's just over 0.2 of a second clear of the man in second place, which is of course Sidus' Rick Cardle.
So today's car is the XF GTR. It's a front-engined, front-wheel drive car with a 2.0 liter inline-4 engine. It produces around 230 brake horsepower and weighs about 840 kilograms. So it's well, sort of a touring car, a bit like the old WTCC cars with a little less power though. It lacks about 20 to 30 brake horsepower to those cars, but still makes a lot of fun and is one of the cars of the NGTR class that was also featured last weekend in the Open Endurance Cup finale.
So yeah, I heard a few guys saying they were struggling with the rear of the car through the chicane on their practice laps earlier. Now, whether that is, of course, the turn 2 chicane, which is, in my opinion, a bit tamer than the turn 3 chicane in terms of it's a less tight corner and arguably a lot slower going into there. So turn 3, we'll show you around the track in just a second when we jump on board with somebody, and you'll see exactly what corners we're referencing. You can see Chris getting the rear of that car a bit sideways to try and get some temperature into the rears. Of course, this car being front engined and front wheel drive, That's the driven axle, to where the majority of the weight in that car is also. So not the easiest task to get temperatures into the rear tyres.
This is the most similar car we have to like a British touring car. It's quite means that we can have some quite interesting close racing, bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah, a lot of door banging hopefully going on at this round, and with such a short track, hopefully everybody can at least race quite close with each other. I think we jump on board with Trespasser. Do you want to take it away, Adam? Just out of turn 1.
Just going out of turn 1, we've got this little chicane, fully flat out. It's more of a, well, not a chicane.
Bit of a kink.
We go down through into turn 3. You want to take a really wide exit and keep the speed up as much as possible. You want to scrub off as little speed. Try to keep it tight around both corners as you head up to the last turn, turn 4. You've got to try and get it straighten up on the exit early so you can put the throttle down, heading down the long front straight.
Yeah, I think we'll see quite a few people running wide at that turn 3 chicane there just before the final corner. You can take a lot of runoff, especially on the way in, and there's a curb on both of the apexes, but on the very left hand side as you exit the corner, it's basically tarmac and then instant grass, as we see Salmon for Team Rock Racing going through that exact corner I was just saying. If you run wide there, there's no curb to somewhat get some grip on. You might see a few people hit the wall, and especially it's going to be dangerous going in there side by side. But let's have a quick look at the standings. We've got about 5 minutes for qualifying remaining. So there we have the drivers' standings currently. Jan Makowski at the top of the sheet there. Gavin Peat not far behind, just 18 points shy. Nico Puntola in P number 3 with Rick Cardle, of course, in P4. Yari Katia in P number 5. And we'll jump over now to the Teams Championship. So yes, Motorsport at the top again, just 3 points clear of Team Rock Racing, so it's pretty close. And after 31 rounds, this being the 32nd, of course, you wouldn't expect it to have 3 points in it. But I know another championship, Adam, wink wink nudge nudge, where there's only 3 points between the top two. Going in, well, that's going into the final round, so a bit different. Plenty of rounds, of course, left in the Team Rock Racing Championship this year. World Class Lions in 3rd position, and you can see the huge jump of points from P2 to P3. 398 points shy are World Class Lions of your current constructors leaders. Race Green Autosports in P number 4, and Master Race Car, it looks as though, in P number 5. We jump back to finish the rest of qualifying. So at the moment, it's still Vitautas Lugertskas in pole position with that time he set earlier on, a 1 minute 5.77. Gavin Peat managed to sandwich himself in between Vitautas Lugertskas and Rick Cardle to slot onto the end of row number 1 in 2nd position. Rick Cardle again still not improved since earlier with that 0.9. Sorry, Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that drivers are going to be looking for in qualifying is a nice draft down the front straight. Because if you can get a car maybe about 0.3 of a second in front of you, you can gain maybe an extra 10 kilometers an hour, and it can really boost your time up a few tenths.
Everybody's struggling for space, of course. 3.1 kilometers, just 4 corners in total here at Aston Club Reverse, and 25 cars that have set times so far in qualifying. Still enough time for drivers to get a few runs in. We expect, of course, about a 1 minute 15 to 20 second outlap. And your flyers, of course, going to be in the 1 minute 5s or 6, depending on how good it is. But look at Yes Motorsport Trespasser getting himself again in front of Gavin Peat. So it's a Yes Motorsport front row at the moment, with Trespasser setting that very respectable 1 minute 5.90.
One of the corners you've got to watch out for in this track is the first corner, as a matter of fact. If you get on the brakes a little bit too late, you can be heading straight on over the gravel trap.
I'm almost disappointed that we're in the reverse configuration this time, because the last time we raced at Aston Club, I believe it was in the MRTs, and that sweeping final corner, which is turn 1 now, of course, caught quite a few people out when it came to just getting the car slowed down, because it almost running the normal configuration, it's almost a it's less of a straight line braking zone, and a lot were struggling with locking up that inside front. Made for some spicy racing towards the end.
I mean, in this car, the way in, you're going into the corner with so much speed, unsettling the car over that inside curb. You've really got to watch out on your entry.
So we'll jump on board with Ricciardo. We've got about a minute remaining in qualifying, so everybody that has left the pits to start their little bit of an outlap before one final flyer should have enough time to cross the line. Ricciardo currently sat in P number 4. You can see the intervals between drivers as we have a duplicate time. Looks as though Ricciardo's set exactly the same time as Trespasser, so an improvement, but again, because he set that time just after Trespasser, retains 3rd position and stays on the 2nd row.
Ricciardo here will be hoping that he can catch up to Mega by the end of this lap and get a nice draft down the back straight, because that could push him up into 2nd.
Again, look at how close you run to the wall, taking the left-hander off slightly, using the curb again on the right-hand side, but you can't do that on the way out, and you can see just a millimetre to the left-hand side was that rear left, and round she goes. That's definitely one to look out for in the race as well. So the timer has kicked down to 0. Sorry, Adam.
Jaban just going around the final corner. He's in 5th at the moment. He gets a decent lap in. He'll be happy with that. Not quite in draft range of the car in front.
Currently only 0.4 down. Improves by a 10th. Moves up to E5. Was that an improvement in terms of positions?
No. Unluckily so.
I think Gemini is going to be the last car to cross the start-finish line in this qualifying session. Is it an improvement? Not quite.
So it is Yes Motorsports row 1 with Lacunas in front of Trespasser. In row 2, Ricciardo with Gavin Pete for Team Rock Racing. Then it's Jan Wikelski, Jaban in 5th position. One of the newcomers, Phantom in 6th. Master Race Cars Mega in 7th. Followed by the World Class Lions duo of Joni Katia and Pekka Koivunen. From 10th down to 13th, we've got all Born to Race cars with Spiky, Skettle, Ayub, and Twin. 14th position, Tom Salmonen for Team Rock Racing, followed by Master Race Cars Germany. In 16th, Team Rock Racing's Frank. Then Yes Motorsports Gabor, World Class Lions Jari Katia. In 19th position, Yes Motorsports Nico Pontola, Unite. 20th, Chris McElroy for TC Racing. 21st position, Master Race Cars Kick, followed by Race Green Autosports Redbot. In row 12, positions at 23 and 24, World Class Lion cars with Timo Soini and Boss. In the last row, in 13th row, we've got Master Race Cars Michael, and the only Born to Race car not in a pack, it's Eyre.
Interesting to see Yes, Unite's Gabor and Unite so far down the grid.
But again, it's the same two familiar faces at the sharp end there with Lacunas or Lagutskas, whichever of the two names he wants to go by today. Again, Trespasser, Rick Cardle, Gavin Pete and Jaban all there in the top 5. So we'll see how they get on in race number 1. Of course, 2 16-lap races coming up, and if my maths are correct, that's around about just sub 20 minutes. So will that be enough come the reverse grid race number 2? The faster guys again starting at the back to make their way towards the front and potentially pick a podium up. Anyway, we will be back in, well, however long it is until the start of the race. I believe it's about 2 minutes away, so don't go anywhere. So welcome back to race number 1, your coverage again of round number 32. Looking for the lights. Green, 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 let's go. Decent start from our leader now. Looking to again filter into single file before you approach turn number 1. Looks like the two Team Rock Racing cars are Gavin, Pete and Jaban almost side by side again as we enter turn number 1. 3 wide towards the back, but filtering down into 1 abreast. Trespasser and Rick Cardle again look very, very close on the way out of turn number 1, approaching turn number 2 now. The kink left and right. Again, watch out for some potential moves. You can see Rick Cardle trying it up the inside of Yes Motorsports. Trespasser there. And we know 2 don't go into 1. 3 definitely don't go into 1 as there is contact, and that looks like... Was that Trespasser?
Trespasser rejoining.
And Gavin Pete again with some contact towards the rear of Rick Cardle's car. Pushes Rick Cardle now down into P number 4. So again... Tautas Lacunas in the lead. Gavin Pete and Jaban again for Team Rock Racing making their way up into 2nd and 3rd respectively.
I was going to say that that was a surprisingly clean first lap, but doesn't look like we lasted all the way around.
Going to run on board with Gemini. You can see cars just ahead, 2 abreast, 3 abreast again trying on the grass. Is that Yes Motorsports Unite there on the right hand side of Frank? Born to Race Scattle there on the left, and 3 definitely don't go into 1.
Unite's made up, I think, 5 or 6 places up on the first lap.
10.
He's done some brilliant work.
10. He was down at
10.
19th after qualifying.
Looks as though Born to Race Scattle has incurred something. He falls all the way down to 22nd position, as it looks like there's a potential battle now. I saw position switch just a few times there for second place, Rick Cardle and Jaban.
Yeah, Ricotia was upside down, but back on all 4 wheels, rejoining from the chicane in 24th position. But he must have been involved with something. No, he wasn't. Phantom behind him was involved earlier in the situation with Trespasser.
As we see Rick Cardall going up the inside of Jaban for second place. He's missed the brakes a little bit. That'll give Jaban a little look up the inside, but no. Rick Cardall keeps the place with a nice exit.
Yeah, Lacunas up in the lead must have the biggest smile on his face at the moment, because he's got a almost 2.3 second lead now over second position, and while these two continue to battle, you can imagine that gap's going to just increase. Now riding on board with Team Up Racing's Jaban, the man in third position. That's Rick Cardall just ahead in the number 66 Sidus machine. What can Jaban do from here? Again, it's a very unorthodox final corner. You don't necessarily want to take the widest line in. You don't necessarily want to be too tight on the apex curb there. Again, depending on what differential settings the guys are running. You want the best sort of traction out of there. Get the car in a straight line. Of course, it's being front wheel drive. And with such a long straight now separating turn 4 from turn number 1 as we complete lap number 3 to move on to lap 4 of 16 now.
Jaban just like Jaban got such a good exit. No.
Again, I think he closed up towards the apex of turn number 4, but again, I think just because he took a little bit of the curb, it just hindered his sort of power application. And again, not being too close to benefit from the draft in order to be as close to make a position. He has to retain in third position now. But if he can again follow Rick Cardall closely through turn 3 up to turn 4, he should have another shot at being...
And behind them, Yoni Catilla is looking up the inside of Gavin Pete, going into chicane. Bit of an unorthodox move, but he's made it work.
That was very, very close when they crossed over, of course. Yoni Catilla getting just enough to make the switch back before. And again, you can see two lines. They slightly work in different ways, even though Catilla has... again, almost looked like he conceded that position. It really sets him up to lead into turn number 1 now. We'll ride on board. You can see again, being on the left hand side of the track, shortest distance between turn 4 and turn number 1. They're going to run side by side across the line. But the initial part of turn number 1 is a right-hander. That does leave Yoni on the outside, but again, the very second apex is in Catilla's favour. But the switchback made by Gavin Pete puts him back ahead once more. Brilliant racing. Now, it doesn't really seem like anybody has an answer for the leader's pace at the moment. Purple sector 1 for the leader this lap. Only 2/100th faster than Rick Cardall in second position, but that gap again, 2.85 seconds now. Yoni Catilla still trying to hunt down Gavin Pete for 4th position. And again, we'll ride on board and see what the man in 5th position can do this time. You can see through the rearview mirror the gap he has to P6. Can Yoni Catilla get the move done now at turn 1 and keep hold of it? Moves out to the right hand side of the track again, in a different position than he was last time, and with not necessarily the same amount of overlap. They will run side by side through the initial part of turn 1. Just managed to get the overlap done. Tries to park it on the right hand side, but there's contact from Gavin Pete now. Luckily, Yoni Catilla was able to stay ahead, but that puts now Born to Race Spiky into contention for 5th position. This two-way has now turned into a 3-way and almost 4-way battle for P number 4, I think, at the front of this. There's that many cars involved. Again, we run almost too wide now through turn 3. You can see the rear of Spiky's car in check as Gavin Pete loses the rear a little bit mid-corner. Again under control though now. We approach turn number 4. And Spikey make the exit work on the outside. It looks as though that's Pekka Koivunen for World Class Lines in the number 5 black, white and yellow car in the back of shot now. You see this train of cars now exiting turn 4 down the back straight. Pekka Koivunen arguably has the best seat in the house for what's unfolding just ahead.
Yoni will be happy that Pete's had some challenge from behind, because that'll give him a little chance to get away. Contact going in. Luckily they keep it relatively clean, and Pete with a good exit. Gonna hold it side by side through the chicane. Spikey doesn't have an overlap, but he's not tucking into the slipstream.
And look who's slowly approaching this group. It's Yes Motorsports Unite, who is currently up 11 places since the start of the race, and we're not even at the halfway mark.
As we've got a car off in the background, B2R twin. Looks like he lost on exit of the turn 3 chicane. Maybe put it onto the grass, because it's got a little bit of damage from the wall there. As in front of him, they go 3 wide. Michael, Yari and Phantom.
Yeah, Yari was upside down at one point earlier. He manages to be very close to the bumper of Michael. Bump drafting not allowed here. 3 wide into the first corner, and Michael was wise there to say, okay, let you guys play.
Yeah, Michael's an experienced driver, and I'm not surprised he took a mature move there. As Texas makes a mistake going through the chicane in front, and that gives Trespasser the outside going into turn 4.
Really is tooth and nail up and down the grid, battles left, right and centre, but again one common theme, Vitautas Lagutskas out in the lead now, has a 3.2 second lead over Rick Cardle now. Again, Vitautas holds the fastest lap and both fastest sectors for good measure, the fastest man out there right now. Japan not doing bad to try and keep up with Rick Cardle for P2 though. But again, another couple of cars that we just can't separate. No matter how hard we try, there's again the battle for... It looks to be like the battle for P5 now. It looks as though Yoni Katia is slightly getting away from Gavin Pete. The gap again, only 0.5 of a second, but you can see that World Class Lines car at the head of the shot now. Just eking away from the Team Rock Racing number 55 that currently sits in 5th position.
Behind them, Nico Pantola is really caught up to the back of Spikey. Obviously he was sandbagging a little in qualifying, he's really on pace now.
Or he was trying to qualify with a wrong setup, or some other Nico thing that could have happened.
Maybe he switched back to his Sidewinder for old time's sake, just for qualifying. And he's having to adjust to some actual force feedback now. We still ride on board with Nico Pantola currently in 7th position. You can try and visualise the gap to the car ahead. It's around about 0.37 of a second, so again under half a second. And just runs a little wide through turn 3. Didn't lose a lot because the car really was pointed in the direction that it needed to. Was able to get it back on terra firma without lifting off the throttle, and a nice apex through turn 4 sets him up pretty nicely to potentially challenge into turn number 1.
Spikey's got a little bit of help from the front. He's just in draft range of Pete, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough to keep him from losing the position here.
Well, you can visually see that Yes Motorsport car closing up, and alongside now the Born to Race car, and he on the left hand side arguably puts him in the best position to take that position away. It's all about the exit though. The Born to Race driver chooses to stay on the outside. It enables him to get on the power a little bit earlier, not having such a tight apex, but again not enough with that longer run being on the outside of the track. Has to slot behind the S Motorsport car. But again, looking to challenge into turn 3. Very brave if you can do it there. So Nico Puntola up into P6 now. We're about to complete 11 laps of racing so far. And again, if you thought the action was spicy so far in race number 1, just wait till we have a reverse grid round just after this one. Gavin Peters sort of, well, everybody I think forward of Nico Puntola now in P6, so 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd and 1st have all got themselves into a nice, almost about a second window from one another, as the battle again for P6 rages on, with Spiky getting ever so close at the apex of turn 1 but ultimately losing out quite a bit. And it looks like Pekka Koivunen might be looking to take away.
As we've got Jari Katila flying off the track at turn 1, has to spin himself around and get back on the track. Don't know what happened there. Quite a weird place to spin. Not sure if Unite's close enough for a move going up into turn 1. Yeah, doesn't quite have enough draft, but he's really made his way through the pack here. As you see, close is really close. Right up to the back of Gavin Pete there, but because he does that, his exit isn't as good. As it looks like Joni Katila's got a little bit of lap traffic in front of him to worry about.
Yeah, that's Mega. He returned to the track in lap 1.
And
He had
almost
he was
getting in the way of Pete there,
involved-
but
yeah, but he managed it somehow. He was involved in this situation with Trespasser.
as we see Nico Puntola, yes, Unite making a move. Is he going to go to the inside? Yeah, that overspeed is going to get him the move done right before the corner, I would assume.
And again, I think there's another 2 wide battle just a bit further back with Pekka Koivunen and Ayub there. So Pekka Koivunen up to P8 now. Nico Puntola up to P5, and Gavin Pete, after that initial surge up into, I think, 2nd and 3rd with the 2 Team Rock Racing drivers, Japan and Gavin Pete, finds himself now in P6, trying to fight Nico Puntola over it.
Nico's setting laps to qualifying speed now. Well, half a second faster than his qualifying lap, so
Yeah.
don't know how he messed it up so bad.
Again, my idea is he did a Nico thing, as Chris would say.
Still, it doesn't look like anybody can get near the race leader last time around. A 1 minute 6.5, so not the ideal lap for the man out in the lead. Again though, a 4.2 second gap from 1st to 2nd, but for the few laps before as well, he was well in the 1 minute 5s.
Got some more battling at the back. TRR Texas making his way up the inside of Scattle to turn 1, which will turn to the outside for the second part of the corner. As in front of them, Hera Loco runs nice and wide into turn 1. That'll lose him a couple places. too wide into that chicane is not the most fun. As you can see, Scattle's lost quite a lot of speed there in a place.
Oh,
The Heroloco.
oh, Frank has a big off. He was returning to the track and got collected by Master Race Car's Cake.
Again, 3 wide though, just behind as Frank rejoins now down in P number 18. It's all kicking off now.
More contact. Heroloco returns to 14th position. 15th, sorry.
Yeah, South American battle. Scattle from Chile and Charloco from Argentina.
So again, looks like they're attempting to go too wide into turn number 1. But we might have to cut this battle short now because the leader is rounding the very final corner for the very final time in race number 1. Absolutely undisputed in qualifying, absolutely undisputed in the race. Man who set the fastest lap again on lap 16. Well, sorry, the at least fastest split one on lap 16, the very current lap. He might be setting the last lap, fast lap, for good measure. Whew, very close with a lap car again across the line. Vitatas Lugutskas takes the win in race number 1 of round 32 of the Team Rock Racing Championship, and does indeed set the fastest lap on the very last lap for good measure, a 1 minute 5.82. Beside us is Rick Cardle in P2.
52 points.
So plenty of points for Vitatas Lugutskas. Rick Cardle in P2, Team Rock Racing's Japan in P number 3, Yoni Katia in P4, Yes Motorsport Unite in P number 5, followed by Gavin Pete for Team Rock Racing in P6, Born to Race is Spikey in P7, Pekka Koivunen for World Class Lions in P8, P9 it's Born to Race's Ayub, with Gemini for Master Race Cars in P10. Team Rock Racing Salmonen in 11th position, with Yes Motorsport's Trespasser closely behind in 12th. Chris McElroy, TC Racing in P13.
Chris McElroy in 13th. He's followed by Master Race Car's Kick, who was having some trouble with Frank when he returned earlier to the track. 15th position, Scattle. He's beating his fellow South American Loco to the line. Texas and Frank for Team Rock Racing in 17 and 18. 19th is Race Green's Redbot, followed by Phantom in 20th position, who had a more promising start to the race, but struggled with some troubles early on in the race. 21st position, Timo Soini, followed by Born to Race's twin, Master Race Cars Michael. Jari Katia in 24th. Yes Motorsports Gabor in 25th. 26th, Eyre for Born to Race. World Class Lions Boss, who just was very narrowly lapped just in front of the start-finish line moments ago, in 27th. And Mega in 28th position, the final car to finish.
That race was quite exciting. Nico Pontola, I think he was the highlight of the race there, moving from 19th, I believe, all the way up to 5th, pulling off some amazing moves. Interesting, Trespasser had a wee incident and dropped all the way down to 12th, so he'll be one to watch for the second race.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to your coverage of the Team Rock Racing 2020 Championship. And away we go.
And we're gone.
Looks as though Mega's off to a great start again, trying to filter into single file before turn number 1.
Oh, boss.
Oh,
Mega.
big collision in the back.
That
Scattle,
was a big lag.
trespasser. Loads of people involved.
You can see the gaggle at the back of the grid there,
4 wide.
at the apex of turn 2 there. 1 across the grass. Meanwhile, again at the front, looks like Mega and Boz trying to fight over that leader position right now. We approach turn 4 for the first time in race 2. Looks as though, and that's a Born to Race driver there in 3rd position trying to get involved. Not the greatest exit. You can see how close the cars behind are in the rearview mirror there. We ride on board with the man in 3rd.
That's behind the man in 3rd. Michael's making a move on Gabor. Can have a nice inside line going into the first part.
C2 wide. Just behind us, the Born to Race driver, very, very late on the brakes, locks up. Did well not to collect 2nd position, which was the World Class Lions car. Filters down a few positions and finds himself in 9th now. You can see Gabor and Michael very close. Michael looking to the right hand side, brakes a little bit earlier. Again, that brings into contention though Eyre Katia from P5 at the moment, as that's a car off ahead. Boz moves up to 1st. That is Mega. So Mega down in P6 now with 3 wide at turn number 4. You can see just how condensed the grid is as we run through the kink that is, well, we'd say turn 4B somewhat on the back straight now.
Gavin Pete's made up a few places. He's up into 13th.
Again,
He could be
moves
in
all
a-
over the place.
Trespasser and Thierry Loco. Contact under braking would both keep it on the track. And Trespasser overtakes Thierry Loco into 10th position.
Eyre Loco just having a filter again into single file through turn number 2.
Up
Again,
ahead,
flat
3
out.
wide. Texas, Phantom, Mega. Texas thinks better of it.
And he sneaks at the inside of Phantom, who went wide. Wonder what happened to him there. As looks like Mega's going to go up the inside of Twin.
Rewind
Oh,
again
And maybe
towards the
Yari
front.
Katila.
Eyre Katila in the middle of that that battle there. Again, Mega with a decent run puts him on the inside. Seems to be losing out. Is that Texas there at the back of the pack here? We'll see what it looks like from his perspective. Tries to make it 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide. Looks like he's going to get boxed in. Moves to the left, a little bit of a lift now. Looking from the aerial cameras. We're 3 wide and there's contact there. Eyre Katia out on the outside of turn 1 now. Again, we try and filter down into single file. Born to Race Twin at the head of this little 4-way battle as we're still 2 wide with Eyre Katia trying to fend off there. Is that Gavin Pete or is it Trespasser? One of the two. It is Trespasser. Gavin Pete just ahead side by side with Twin for Born to Race at the initial part
Nice
of turn
cut
3.
back as Twins run nice and wide there.
Oh, someone.
All the
Oh,
way on
big
the
off.
grass.
Frank is hitting the wall big time. And Gemini for Master Race Car was involved in that as well.
Gavin Pete Drafting down the straight, looking to make a move on Phantom. He's going to have a double draft here from Mega, but so will Phantom. His Trespasser.
Tries
Right
to
through
thread the
middle.
needle.
Brilliant move.
Very nice
Phantom
to leave
runs
each other
very
room.
deep.
This is brilliant racing in terms of racing room. We're not seeing really anybody being forced off, only really through mistakes.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx anything, but race 2's been nice and clean. Quite oh! Perfect.
That's Texas getting caught
Commentator's
up.
curse happening.
I was almost about to say that Pete's not here, so you're okay, but you're not.
And Trespasser with a very
Mega off the road there.
unfortunate rejoin. So Lacunas is now on the outside of Yarikatia. Jaban right behind him. And Spikey wanted to go through the middle, but thinks better of it.
I think that little coming together has ruined Trespasser's chance of a decent score this round. Bit of a shame that.
Jaban to the inside of Lacunas. Yarikatia in the slipstream.
Oh, the 3 and 4 wide almost just in the background there, all trying to filter into that one apex. That is turn number 1. Jaban comes out on top of this little battle though in P9.
It looks more like lap 1, not like lap 6.
You wouldn't think this is the reverse grid round. Everybody looks like they're very similar in terms of pace. But again, the fact that the grid is so condensed, I mean, it really does work in favour of the reverse grid. Of course, the faster guys trying to get their way through will be further back.
Ooh.
You can see our winner from race number 1, Vitatas Lugutskas, or Lacunas, whichever name he's going by today, up to P number 6 now, trying it around the outside of Master Race Cars Mega.
Oh, Unite was spun. Falling down now to 15th position.
Nice run though.
Lacunas going 3 wide up the inside into turn 1. Brilliant move there.
3 wide just behind as well as that. It's a car off into the grass there. Is that into the gravel? Sorry, that was Mega. Or was it Mega? It might have been Michael. One of the Master Race cars.
TRR Salmonen was flying through the air. That was a very strange incident.
Phantom up the inside of Boz going into turn 3. Boz gives him space, gives him the place.
Who just run his left hand side over the grass, hindered his run only by a little bit though. Was able to get back on again the tarmac without having to lift. Not an ideal apex though, bit of a slow run on the way out. I mean, we look back from Phantom's car now, you can see just how much that gap has opened up. Fastest lap though at the moment, Rick Cardle in P19. And that was set on lap number 5 just a few laps ago. Trespasser sets the fastest lap, takes the fastest lap away from Tatas Lacunas though, up into P number 5 from the very back of the grid after winning race number 1 here today.
Interesting that Gavin Pete's not really caught up with Gabor at all. Gabor had quite a shocking qualifying and first race, so it's interesting to see his pace has been reasonably good in race 2.
Lacunas though around the outside of World Class Lions Boz even before the apex of turn 4 there. Just so much confidence on the approach to turn 4. He's up in 4th position now. And again, sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 6.18.
Behind them, Yoni Catilla up the inside of Master Race Cars Michael. Michael concedes the position.
Yeah, it looked as though Michael dragged the brakes just a little bit early in that braking zone as to try and filter out and hit his apex in single file.
Michael can probably see that Yoni Catilla's faster and giving him the
Yeah, he
giving
could
him a
have
battle
fought
with
that and
slowing down.
potentially kept the position for a few more corners, but again, the longer you battle with another car, the faster the
As
cars behind are going to close up to the both of you.
wide through turn 3, loses a couple positions in Jaban and Trespasser.
So the World Class Lions car down into P7 now. Was that Spiky there just behind? Eyre Loco very close to one another in the battle for 8th position. You can see that blue and white car in the rearview mirror pulls out to the right hand side. Again, will he have the overlap done before the braking point? It looks that way. Doesn't commit to the left hand side though until pretty late in the corner. Not really much that Spiky could do to to attack further there.
And he's not going to have much to come back with. His Heraloko's getting a nice draft off a boss in front.
Yeah, the Kunas is on an absolute stormer though. Currently again still the fastest car on track as the Phantom just ahead, the number 221 machine, running slightly wide on the exit of 3. You can see how Lacunas is just able to close that gap so much on the way in. Brakes later, tighter apex, almost you could say faster as well at the apex.
Yeah, as he is getting the draft in front, he doesn't have to worry so much about getting a great exit because he knows he'll make it all back up with the nice slipstream in front.
Again, pulls out to the right hand side of the track.
As if he had DRS, as the overtake's done before turn 1.
I was going to say, these cars are not incredibly aero dependent, so you will find that they will be able to race very closely in a pack, especially through the corners. But on the straights, even though these aren't hugely, you know, they're not draggy cars, so to speak, you can see just how pronounced that slipstream effect is.
Boss was on 2 wheels when defending from Spiky, and this little disturbance in the force opened the gap for Eyre Loco a little bit, but
yeah, 2 of those collide, and you can see that Eyre Loco is going to lose out more. He finds his way all the way down in 10th position now, as again we're still fighting at the apex of turn 4 between World Class Lions Boz and Born to Race Spiky.
Looks like we're going to get a beautiful battle up in front because we've got Pete, Gabor and Lacunas all converging. Going to be awesome.
So Spiky pulls out to the right hand side now, trying to get past Boz. Does it on the brakes, has the overlap done as Boz loses the rear a little bit. He's not lost out too much. Again, might lose a place to Eyre Loco now, number 2 machine. So brilliant driving there from Spiky. You can see the gap opened up already. How's it looking at the front, Adam?
Yeah, it looks like it's they're all within a second of each other, and Gabor's wide at the last corner. This is going to give Pete a nice draft, but he's got Lacunas to worry about, who has an even better exit.
Yeah, he could have the both of them here, potentially leapfrogging one car into another. Lacunas, again, we ride on board. You could hear the strategic lift. He wants to make the overtake further down the straight, which gives, again, the car he's overtaking less chance to attack back into turn 1. Trying to time his run as best he can. Again, side by side at the perfect point on the brakes into turn 1. Has one move made, almost looked like he was looking to the inside there of Gabor. These 2 teammates now at the front of the pack, but he's just made short work of Gavin Pete. Lacunas runs side by side with his teammate now.
Gabor has slowed down to let him past.
Yeah, that was a
Obviously
very unorthodox manoeuvre.
Looking for all the team points here, as it is nice and tight at the top of the championship.
Yeah, but these 2 had 3 laps to switch positions, and look, Gabor's lost out to Gavin Pete now, as Gavin Pete carries his momentum from the exit turn 1 through turn 2 and makes a move just before turn 3. Gavin Pete now separates the 2 Yes Motorsports driver, and again, if he can get a good exit out of here, has a good chance to fight back and potentially have the lead into turn number 1, because however fast for Tautas Lagutskas is, he is not immune to the draft.
Gabor's going to be hoping they do battle, because that'll mean he can catch back up. But Lacunas has already got a bit of a gap.
He has indeed. Not a personal best this time around, but he did improve on the fastest lap of the race just a few laps ago.
Considering that
1 minute 5s again.
Lacunas had to make a couple of moves on that lap, it was still a brilliant lap. He's really showing them up. Interesting that Phantom is kept with the drivers in front. I've not heard that name before, but he's given us a good performance as Gabor with a big slide going through turn 3.
Yeah, Phantom's just able to close that gap now. See how close again they are at the apex of turn 4. Phantom just coming into shot now there, the blue machine at the very bottom of your screen. Will ride on board. It looks like he's got a nice exit out of turn 4. But again, we're running out of laps. We are about to start the penultimate lap. Lap 15 of 16 coming right up. And what a brilliant run Phantom has now. Slightly early, but he should be able to get the move done and dusted before the braking zone for turn number 1. They remain side by side. Late on the brakes is Gabor, but Phantom just knows exactly where to place that car on the apex. Brilliant overtake now up into 3rd position. We look again a bit further forward and you can see the gap coming down between 3rd and 2nd position, but out in the lead, Tatas Lacunas. Fastest lap again last time around, just 100th faster than his last fastest lap. 1 minute 5.90 gave him Pete a 1 minute 6.39. 2 tenths faster though was P3, so again, if these two can work together and not necessarily slow themselves down too much by battling on this last lap, Kevin Pete's not necessarily safe.
Considering Phantom's pace, Gabor is just going to want to keep in his draft, but it looks to me like he might have already lost it.
Yeah, you can see Gabor in the rearview mirror there. We ride on board with the man in 3rd position, Phantom. You can see Gabor was just slightly to the right, at least for the majority of that back straight, not benefiting hugely from the draft, partly because he was quite far back and of course not following in, you know, a perfect line to the car ahead.
Behind for 9th place we've got Unite up near Pekka Koivunen. Unite had a spin earlier in the race and is making places back up. Not sure he's quite close enough to go for a move into turn 3, but I'll be looking for a good exit to make a move into the hairpin.
They come very close, at least at the first apex. You can see the rear of that world-class Lion car
really stepping out, and Unite has to take to the grass as Pekka doesn't leave him any space.
Very deep on the brakes was Nico there.
Meanwhile, Lacunas is now on the final meters of this 2nd race. He is crossing the line right now to make it a double win with the fastest lap. So it's 94 points for him for today.
Behind them for 17th place, looks like Mega. Is he going to beat Gemini to the line? This is going to be close. Just about.
You could just see how close those two were across the line. Not much separating those two whatsoever.
So Lacunas wins the 2nd race like he did in the first round. Well, the first race of today. In front of Gavin Pete this time, who climbed also 21 positions up from where he started. 3rd position to Phantom, who had an unlucky race 1 and now can redeem himself with a podium finish in race 2. 4th position, Yes Motorsports Gabor, followed by Team Rock Racing's Japan. 6th, Yes Motorsports Trespasser, with also a better 2nd race compared to his first round. Ioni Katia in 7th position. He finishes around the place. He finished race 1 as well. 8th, Born to Race Spikey, followed by World Class Lions Pekka Koivunen and Yes Motorsports Unite. Argentina Turismo Eyre Loco in 11th position. Then it's World Class Lions Boss, Redbot for Race Green Autosports, World Class Lions Yariketia, and Teamwork Racing's Frank in 15th World Class position. Lions Yariketia, 16th Master Race Cars Michael, followed by his teammate Kick. 18th Master Race Cars Germany, followed by his teammate Kick. Master Race Car Trio, 16th Master Race Cars Germany, followed by his teammate. Followed by TC Racing's Chris McElroy. 20th position, Born to Race Scattle, in front of Rick Carl, who seems to have an unfortunate second race here. 22nd, Timo Soini for World Class Lions, and finishing in the final two positions, Born to Race cars of Eyre and Ayub.
So, what a fantastic double event we had again for round 32 of the Team Rock Racing Championship. Again, not even close to the end. And again, they like to switch it up every single week with different combinations. Would you have been interested in driving in this, Adam, this round, if you weren't in the commentary box this week?
I mean, it's a fun car to drive, but I wouldn't say it's my favourite. I think I had quite fun in here this week.
I can never quite gauge exactly how everybody enjoys at least the racing when they're in the car on Live for Speed when we cover the rounds, because I remember one of my favourite rounds to commentate on was the Team Up Racing race we had a few rounds ago with the RAC and it looked like everybody was just having a blast, and then when I spoke to some of the guys in the middle of the race, they all said they wanted to set fire to the car. They hated it. I mean, because it's only got one on Tyrrell Bar. Hate the car, don't like it. But I was honestly commentating over it. The racing was so close. I loved it.
If you're good in the RAC, it's surprisingly fun. But because it's such an annoying car to drive, it's quite hard to be any good.
But what a stalker we had there for race number 2. And again, we're seeing the same familiar faces in the top 5. And I don't think it really matters if it's a reverse round or not. It seems as though Lacunas is, well, like the chat says, an absolute god in the UFR and XFR, again winning race 1 and 2, taking the fastest lap in both races and pole position earlier on in qualifying. Gavin Pete, another familiar name in the top 5. Gabor again, Jaban Trespasser just outside the top 5 in race 2, 6th, but again, same familiar faces up there. So, how would you sum that round up, Thilo?
It was a very interesting round. I mean, the cars definitely helped a lot with this British touring car style racing, especially in round 2, where we saw the fast cars going through the grid. Yeah, it was really a fun round to watch and to commentate on, and probably also to drive.
I think we may have one driver to chat to before we end the broadcast. Yeah. Take it away.
Hello, you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
I don't know.
Fine, okay.
How was your race today?
So the first race was pretty fine, I guess. I got really lucky in the first 3 laps. I passed by 2 flipped cars. I remember, I don't know who they were. And I managed to finish P14, I guess. Yeah. I was really lucky. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
That.
Whereabouts did you start? How many places did you gain?
I don't remember. In the race 1, the start was pretty clean. Actually, no. I think I lost some position because I had a contact with someone. And I may have lost 2 or 3 positions.
I think according to my time statistic, you gained 6 places during race number 2. So,
yeah, actually,
did you enjoy fighting your way through that pack?
It was really good, So in race 2, even though the result is better, I could have done much better because I was fighting for the position 13th into the chicane, but I did a move that I didn't actually do before, so I didn't really know how to react. I went straight through the tire walls, so I lost some positions there. But besides that, it was alright. After that, in the first lap, I got launched because the guy behind me got crashed, I guess, and he had a pretty high ping, so you know how it is.
Yeah.
Hit lag.
So what
How are
your...
you feeling about next round?
Yeah, I was about to ask the exact same question.
I believe we're in the LX4 at Blackwood.
Is that a race that
No,
you're going to be around for?
pardon.
Is that anything that tickles your fancy? Will we see you on the grid next week for Blackwood?
So next race is LX4 in Blackwood, alright.
Yeah, Blackwood GP exactly a week from now.
Oh, I will take part in that.
Wow.
I think that will be really interesting.
Best of luck for your, approach to it. I don't know if you do the practice on the day or just turn up like a lot of the guys do week in, week out. But either way, thank you for coming to chat to us and best of luck for next week.
Thank you.
So that was, I believe, Master Race Cars Kig there. I think finished in P9 for race number 2, making 6 positions up in the process. Sounds like he's looking forward to Blackwood. Don't know if many do. It being such a short track, but no different to where we are this week.
I mean, Blackwood, it's used quite a bit, Some people might be bored of it, but in the LX4, it's a brilliant car to drive. You can get some great racing in that, so I'm quite excited for that.
Yeah, so very similar in terms of track length, but everything else radically different. I think Blackwood GP, of course, is clockwise. We were running an anti-clockwise reverse configuration today for Aston Club, and the machinery next week, again, on the other end of the spectrum, the LX4, again front engine, but rear wheel drive and road tyres. Yeah, hopefully everybody's up for the task next time.
Yeah, next race, the lap's quite a bit longer, and there's a bit more opportunity for overtaking, I think. Especially in these cars where you can run really close, as there's absolutely no aero drop.
So, hope you join us next week for round number 33 of the Team Rock Racing 2020 Championship. Thank you for joining us today from myself, Jack Eyre, Adam Brown and Thilo Falkenberg. We'll see you soon. Take care.